There's a couple different ways you can, like, start to see, "Ooh, what am I carrying that's not mine? Where am I living out values that aren't really what I wanna live out?" So one of the ways that I like to recommend is, and this is something I offer in my course, I ask women to think about what were their mother's beliefs in different areas of life? Like, how did your mother handle sexuality? What were her beliefs about men or about women? What were your mother's beliefs about money and her own body? Just sitting down and reflecting on, yeah, as my mom is a woman, what beliefs was she embodying for me during my early development? And just reflect on that. It's a really powerful exercise. I call it like a mother inventory. And it's not really about our mothers. Honestly, in the end, ultimately, none of this is about our mothers, actually. It's about us as women stepping into our power, stepping into our true individuality, our true essence, our true authentic self, right? So our mothers, doing the reflection work about our mothers and what we went through with her, it's really a doorway into knowing more of ourselves. It's like self-knowledge. So when we do this mother inventory, it's not about picking our mothers apart. It's not about blaming them. It's not about making them wrong or anything like that. It's just taking an honest look, like, at what were you surrounded with? Almost like furniture in your house. What were you surrounded with? The beliefs were as important as the furniture you were surrounded with, if not more. They were impacting your very development. So that's the mother inventory. You can get a lot of, like, insight out of just thinking about it. It might not have been what your mother said. Like, your mother might not have said overtly, "Oh, I hate men," or "I'm really scared about my body." She might not have said anything, but it's more about, what did her choices tell you? What did her decisions tell you? Her actions, they were all communicating a message to you about what's okay, what's not okay, what's scary, what's not. So, I invite everybody listening, if you're kind of interested in this work, it's a great way to kind of look into it. Another way to start to see what you're carrying, I mean, and again, the inventory, you can start to say, hey, you know what? I actually do that. People have insights like, yeah, I remember seeing my mom struggle with her weight, and I realize I'm doing that too. There might be things you realize you've taken on. Another way that you can look and see if you're might be carrying something that's not yours is to just look at your own life and see, where am I struggling the most? Where are the places in my life that I kind of cycle through similar problems? Maybe it's relationships. Maybe you find yourself attracted to the same type of person, that, same kind of relationship. Maybe it's a career. Maybe you're somebody who, like, accrues all these degrees but doesn't want to commit or something. It could be anything. So once you identify what's, my biggest kind of area of stuckness, if you want to call it that, and then like, take a few steps back and be like, what are the beliefs that are operating there? What are my fears? Oftentimes, what's happening is the inner child inside of us is putting the brakes on something because it doesn't feel safe based upon the algorithms we learned from our parents. So it's like we have safety algorithms. It's like, it's not safe to be XYZ. So I'm going to self sabotage so that I can feel more connected and safe. So the things that we've equated with safety might have been actually quite unhealthy. So when we become adults, we can start to see those safety algorithms in action. And wherever we feel tension or dissonance, it's like almost like tuning an instrument. We have to see, okay, something's out of tune here. Let's see, where did this misattunement begin? And we can look back at our childhood and say, oh, it's right there. I learned I should never surpass my mother. Or I remember feeling my father's resentment towards wealthy people. It's not okay for me to be wealthy. You know, like, I remember there was a time, this is actually not about mother, it's about father, but there was one time I think in my first business, I had like a successful month, and I started feeling tension about that. Like, why? What's going on? And I remember one morning I just woke up and I felt all this sadness about, my dad and money, and watching my dad struggle with money. And I just needed to release some grief about that. Like, that I witnessed a lot of his pain, but I don't need to carry it into my own life as though it's my own. So instead of, like, having subconscious tension or self-sabotage around money, I actually was able to just stop and, like, be like, okay, I'm figuring out this is what it is, and just allow myself to grieve for him and for the situation. And then that kind of freed me up more to more embrace more financial possibilities.